I never thought I would be the guy writing something like this. I always imagined the people posting these long, raw stories on the internet were either fishing for attention or exaggerating their lives to sound more dramatic. But now I get it. There's something about betrayal that rots you from the inside out, and the only way to keep from choking on it is to spit it out into the world. Maybe someone will read this and feel less alone. Or maybe I just need to get it out so I can stop replaying every little detail in my head. I'm 36, been married for 9 years, together with my wife for 11. We met in a way that was almost disgustingly wholesome, a mutual friend's birthday barbecue, where I spilled beer on her white dress. I spent the rest of the afternoon fetching her drinks and food, trying to make up for it. She laughed at everything I said, and I remember thinking he'd never met anyone so warm. That warmth pulled me in, and I built my whole life around it. We weren't perfect, of course. No couple is. But our fights were always about little things, whose turn it was to do the dishes, or whether we should visit my parents or hers for the holidays. We always made up by the end of the night. I worked in it, long hours sometimes, but she was understanding. She worked from home as a freelance graphic designer. We didn't have kids, not because we didn't want them, but because we thought we had time. We were still young, as we like to say. The first crack in the fog came in the smallest way. She started guarding her phone. She used to leave it lying around all the time, screen up, and shed laugh when it jokingly scrolled through her photos looking for unflattering selfies. But then one day, I noticed she started flipping it face down whenever I walked into the room. I brushed it off. Everyone values privacy, right? And she had never given me a reason to doubt her. Then came the nights out. She joined a local co-working space to get out of the house more, which sounded like a good idea. I was happy she'd have more social interaction, since working from home can be isolating. At first, it was a couple of hours here and there. Then it became late nights, just grabbing a drink with some people from the co-working space. She'd text me to say she'd be late, but the text started getting vaguer. It was around this time that I noticed she'd changed her perfume. Not drastically, but it was a scent I didn't recognize. I mentioned it in passing, and she said she just wanted to try something new. But it wasn't just the perfume. She started dressing up more, even when she said she was just going to work. Tight jeans, makeup, a kind of casual but calculated style. I told myself she was just taking better care of herself, maybe trying to boost her confidence. The turning point came on a Wednesday night. She said she was going to have drinks with friends again. I was tired from a long day, so I just ordered some takeout and flopped on the couch. Around 11 p.m., I realized I hadn't heard from her since she left. I texted, "Everything okay?" No reply. Midnight came, then 1 a.m., and finally she stumbled through the door smelling like alcohol. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and went straight to the shower without saying much. Something about her demeanor felt off. The next day, I tried to shake it off, but I couldn't. I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I went through her phone while she was in the shower. My hands were shaking the whole time. I didn't even know what I was looking for, just something. At first, there was nothing unusual. Then I found a message thread with someone saved as Lena Cowork. That was odd. She never mentioned working with anyone named Lena. I opened it and found hundreds of messages, most of them innocuous, but buried among them were photos of my wife that I'd never seen before. Photos where she was wearing the same outfits she'd leave the house in, but taken in dimly lit places, sometimes with a man's hand or shoulder visible. I scrolled up and realized Lena was just a fake contact name. The messages weren't from a woman at all. My stomach dropped as I kept reading. The tone of the messages changed over time, starting casual, then flirty, then explicit. They talked about meeting in hotels, about how she couldn't wait until the next time, about how she wished she could stay the whole night. I don't know how long I stood there, but I remember feeling like the room was tilting, like the air had been sucked out of it. When she came out of the shower, I couldn't even look at her. I set the phone down on the counter and just asked, "Who is he?" Her face froze, then she laughed, this nervous, high-pitched laugh that wasn't her usual one. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I told her I'd read the messages. She didn't even bother to deny it for long. She just broke down crying and admitted it. His name was Adam. He was from the co-working space. It had been going on for about 6 months. She swore it was just physical, that she loved me, that she didn't know why she did it. I wish I could say I yelled, that I threw her stuff out, that I had some big, cinematic moment of righteous anger. But I didn't. I just sat down on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor. My chest hurt, my hands were numb, and I couldn't think straight. She kept talking, apologizing, blaming herself, promising she'd cut him off, but it all sounded like static. That night, I slept on the couch. I didn't cry. I didn't sleep much either. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about every moment in the last year that suddenly looked different in hindsight. Every time she smiled at her phone, every unexplained late night, every time it told myself I was being paranoid. I felt stupid, small, and hollow. The next few weeks were strange. She wanted to work through it, to go to counseling, to rebuild. Part of me wanted that too, not because I thought we could magically fix things, but because I wasn't ready to throw away more than a decade of my life. I agreed to counseling. We went twice. She said all the right things, but I could see in her eyes that she wasn't fully there. Trust is a fragile thing once it's gone. It's like trying to glue together shattered glass. You can stick the pieces together, but the cracks never disappear. I eventually found out more than I wanted to know. Turns out, it wasn't just physical. She had feelings for him. She told him things she hadn't told me in years. She had been thinking about leaving me, but hadn't decided when or how. That broke me more than the physical betrayal, the fact that I wasn't her safe place anymore, that she'd given that intimacy to someone else. It's been 8 months since I found out. We're separated now, though not officially divorced yet. I moved into a small apartment across town. I thought being away from her would make it easier, but some nights I still wake up expecting to hear her breathing next to me. I see couples laughing in restaurants and feel a pang in my chest. I keep wondering what I missed, what I could have done differently, and the truth is, I'll probably never know. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that love alone doesn't make you immune to betrayal. You can be the best partner you know how to be, and it still might not be enough for someone who's looking for something else. And sometimes, the worst part isn't losing the person you loved, it's realizing they were gone long before you noticed. After those first few weeks, the numbness started to give way to something worse, a grinding, constant ache. It's not the kind of pain that shows up as tears or shouting, it's quieter. It sits in your chest and claws at your insides with every little reminder. A song on the radio, a scent in the air, the way her coffee mug sat on the counter, and touched. I kept replaying how we used to be, the early days of our relationship when everything was new and exciting. I remembered the way she used to talk with her whole body, how her eyes sparkled when she laughed, how she fell asleep on my shoulder after long days. I wanted to believe those moments were real, not just a lie we told ourselves before things got complicated. I started to look for signs I'd missed. Did she change gradually or all at once? Was I blind to it, or did she just become someone else overnight? I remembered how she'd begun to talk about feeling restless, about needing more from life, about how work was draining her. At the time, I thought she was just stressed. I offered to help more around the house, to take weekends off, but she brushed it off. Looking back, it feels like those were red flags, cries for something that I wasn't able to give. I also thought about Adam. Who was he? How did he come into her life, and what made her risk everything for him? I'm not proud of the fact that I looked him up online, found his LinkedIn, some social media profiles. He was younger than me, charismatic by all accounts. I saw pictures of him smiling at the same co-working space where she had spent so many late nights. It was surreal, like a whole world existed where I wasn't a part of it. One afternoon, I drove past the building. I sat in the car and watched as people filed out, laughing and talking, none of them noticing the broken man sitting nearby. I wondered if she was there, laughing with him, sharing secrets, making plans that didn't include me. In therapy, I tried to put words to the mess inside me. The counselor suggested that my pain was complicated grief, mourning the loss of a relationship that was still physically present but emotionally gone. Sometimes, I just sat there in silence, tears threatening but refusing to fall. Other times, I exploded in anger that surprised even me. I realized anger was easier than sadness. Anger gave me energy, a way to push through the days instead of collapsing under them. I also started seeing friends less. It's hard to be around people when your heart is breaking. They didn't know what to say, or maybe they did, but I wasn't ready to hear it. I became a ghost in my own life, going through the motions, but never really present. I lost interest in my hobbies. I stopped going to the gym. Even my favorite video games, which used to be my escape, felt empty. One night, alone in my apartment, I found myself scrolling through old photos on my phone. There we were, smiling on a beach vacation, cuddling on the couch, laughing at a birthday party. I held one picture in my hand for what felt like hours. How could all that warmth and love disappear? How could the person I trusted most betray me so completely? The hardest moments came when I was forced to talk to her. Since we decided to separate, we had to sort out finances, the apartment lease, shared belongings. Each conversation was a minefield. We both tried to be civil, but underneath it all, there was so much pain and resentment. Sometimes I caught her looking at me with guilt in her eyes. Other times, she was distant, as if she wanted to erase me from her life completely. I'm trying to rebuild, to find a way to trust again. I don't know if I'll ever be able to fully open my heart to someone else. The fear of being shattered again is always lurking. But I also know that holding on to bitterness will only destroy me. Slowly, I'm learning to forgive, not for her, but for myself. To forgive myself for trusting too much, for loving someone who didn't love me back the same way. I'm still here, still breathing, still trying to find a reason to hope. And maybe that's enough for now. Sometimes, late at night, I catch myself wondering what could have been if things had gone differently. But then I remind myself that life isn't about what ifs. It's about moving forward, however slow and painful that might be. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe you'll find love again someday, or maybe you'll just find peace with myself. For now, I'm learning to live with the scars and to trust that one day, they'll fade enough to let the light back in. Because if there's one thing I've realized, it's that even broken hearts can heal, slowly, unevenly, but truly. And that's something worth holding on to.